Good afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and today we're going to be going over the waiver wire for Week 15. Yes, this is the playoffs. This is when it matters the most. Let's see if we can give your team a boost to send you to the next round. Starting off with the quarterback position. If Taysom Hill is still out there, you definitely want to grab him. As you can see, he had a pretty bad game, but he ended with some solid fantasy points. You definitely want to add him if he's available. Moving on, Tua Tagovailoa has a great matchup against the Jets. I think he's a solid add. Jimmy Garoppolo is also a solid add. He goes against Atlanta, and they definitely don't scare you. And Justin Fields surprisingly sneaking into my waiver wire. 3 of the last 4 games, he's been a top 10 quarterback. I definitely think he's worth an add, and Minnesota is pretty solid, but I think that he should be able to get enough done in the air as well as on the ground. Moving on to the wide receiver position. Russell Gage is somehow still not 50% rostered. Wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I definitely think he's worth an add. He's clearly the main guy while Calvin Ridley's gone. Next up, we have Devontae Parker going against the Jets. That's a solid matchup, and Devontae Parker is a good wide receiver. I think that he should be pretty good for your playoffs. KJ Osborne. Yes, I know most of his production came from a big play, but he is getting the targets, and while Adam Thielen's out, I definitely think he's worth a roster spot. Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. He's had 24 targets in the last 2 weeks. That's what you're looking for on the waiver wire, somebody that's going to get the work. So I definitely think he's worth an add. And Gabriel Davis, with Emmanuel Sanders possibly missing this week, I think Gabriel Davis is going to be more involved, and the Bills really need to win. And they're clearly not running the ball. Well, everybody but Josh Allen, right? Moving on to the running back position. Josh Penny, running back for the Seattle Seahawks. He's my #1 running back grab of the week. He had a fantastic week last week, but he faces the Rams this week, and I don't think that it's going to be as easy of a run. That being said, running backs are hard to come by. I definitely think he's worth an add. Jeff Wilson Jr., running back for the San Francisco 49ers. If Elijah Mitchell misses, I definitely think that he's going to get a majority of the work. And the 49ers know how to run the ball, so I think he's worth an add. Dearness Johnson, running back for the Cleveland Browns. Kareem Hunt is possibly going to miss this game, and if he does, I think Dearness Johnson gets a little more involved. These next running backs are most viable if the starter's going to be out. We have the running backs from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. I think they are both solid adds if Miles Sanders doesn't play, but like I said, that's up in the air. Next up, we have the running backs from the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly. The most recent report right now is Austin Eckler is going to be able to play, but if he misses, these two should see an increased workload. Moving on to the tight end position, I do not really like any tight ends on the waiver wire this week, but if you're really desperate, I guess Austin Hooper should get some more targets with Kareem Hunt possibly out, and he could always fall into the end zone. Moving on to the defenses. The Miami Dolphins are my #1 defense to grab this week. They're going against the Jets. They've been a fantastic defense, and some people have had to drop them because they were on bye last week. You got to make hard decisions during playoff time to win and get in. So, Dolphins might be on your waiver wire. You should check it out. But if they're not there, I like the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. Yes, I know. I think Justin Fields should be getting better, and he should have a fine fantasy day. But he can have a fine fantasy day, and the Vikings have a good defensive game. Catch a couple picks, get a couple fumbles, get some sacks. I think that they're a viable start. And last but not least, the Cleveland Browns going against the Las Vegas Raiders, who just got embarrassed by Kansas City. The Browns are a solid defense, and I definitely think that they can do some work against the Raiders. So that's going to do it for this week's Waiver Wire episode. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. Good luck on the wire this week. Peace.